Rizal's life, exile, trial, and death. On June 26, 1892, Rizal arrived in Manila and he was welcomed by Apolinario Mabini, Andres Bonifacio, Ambrosio Salvador, Padre Cyrano Lactao, Diodato Arellano, and other patriots, who altogether founded La Liga Filipina. They wanted to discuss the plan for La Liga Filipina, which was held in a house on Calle Ilaya. Dapitan is a remote town in Mindanao which served as an outpost of the Spaniard in the Philippines. Dapitan became the only witness to Rizal's fate since July 1896. During his exile, Rizal became close with Capitan Ricardo Carnicero for allowing him to roam the place on the condition that Rizal will relay his activities in his office once a week. In Dapitan, Rizal continued his medicine research and his talent in sculpture, painting, sketching, and poetry writing. On August 26, 1892, Rizal wrote a poem entitled A Don Ricardo Carnicero as a gift to Captain Carnicero. Rizal helped the people of Dapitan with their livelihood. He did farming and business and even invented a wooden equipment in making brick.
On September 21, 1892, Rizal together with Carnicero and another Spaniard won a lottery ticket. The amount given to him as his share was 6,200 pesos. Part of his share was used to buy a land in Talisay. He built a house, a clinic, and a school within the area. He sent letters to Blumentritt narrating his daily activities in Dapitan. He wrote poems, performed the operation on his mother's eyes, and studied on medicinal plants of the Dapitan to be prescribed to his patients. The time, Rizal had been known to be one of the best ophthalmologists. Upon hearing this, George Stauffer, who had an eye ailment together with her adopted daughter, Josephine Bracken, traveled from Hong Kong to Dapitan. Rizal developed an attraction with Josephine, and so on. They became husband and wife, even if it was against
Father Obak and Rizal's relative.
On 1896, when revolution commenced in Manila, Dr. Pio Valenzuela together with Raimundo Mata, a blind man, visited Rizal in Dapitan to narrate to him the founding of Katipunan and its plan for revolution. For a while, Rizal sent letters to Governor General Ramon Blanco from 1894 to 1895. He wanted his case be reviewed, so Blumentritt proposed that Rizal may offer his services as a surgeon to the Spanish government in Cuba to end his exile. That time, Cuba was also a colony of Spain and was ravaged by a yellow fever epidemic. On July 30, 1896, Governor General Ramon Blanco granted Rizal's request to go to the Cuba. Rizal left Manila, embarked the steamer España. On September 3, 1896, he went to Barcelona, boarded the steamer Isla de Panay. When he arrived at the airport, Governor General Dispunjol told Rizal that there was a command to return him back to Manila.
On November 20, 1896, Colonel Francisco Olive was the assigned judge to summon Jose Rizal. He was an advocate of the Spanish Military Tribunal. The preliminary investigation began, and a 5-day investigation was conducted. Jose Rizal was blamed for being the leader of the revolution by increasing the people's ideas about rebellion and making illegal organizations. As expected, Rizal was not given the chance to interrogate his witnesses. He was only allowed to choose his lawyer from a list of young Spanish officers who were not into law. Jose Rizal chose Lieutenant Luis Tavil de Andrade, who was the bodyguard of Jose Rizal when he first came home. There were two kinds of evidences presented him during the investigation: the documentary and testimonial. There were 15 documents against Rizal and 10 witnesses for testimonial. All efforts were made by Lieutenant Tavil de Andrade to defend Rizal of his innocence, but as obvious as it may have seemed that Rizal was still found guilty.
1996, at 6 o'clock in the morning, Captain Rafael Dominguez read him the official notice of his execution. Rizal spent his last hours by going to the prison chapel. His mother and sisters visited him on the
Nandito ang
same
ina at
day.
kapatid.
Anak ko! Ina, bakit kayo nandito?
Anak, anong gagawin nila sa'yo?
Ina, huwag kang mag-alala sa akin. Para ito sa ating bansa. Sana po ay patawarin ninyo ako sa aking mga kasalanan.
Tama na yan! Tama na yan! Bawal magtagal!
Trinidad, buksan mo ito pagkatapos ng aking kamatayan. There is something inside.
Magkakaasa ka, kapatid ko.
Tama na yan! Alis na!
It was said that on his last days, that Rizal was not allowed to embrace his mother. He took time to write his last letter to his best friend Blumentritt. The last poem he composed was the longest he ever written. It was entitled Mi Ultimo Adios, or My Last Farewell. December 29, 1896, Rizal had his last supper in the evening. At that time, he said to Captain Dominguez that he has already forgiven his enemies, including those who wanted him dead. At 3 in the morning, at the day of his execution, he prayed and confessed his sins in the chapel. At exactly 5:30 in the morning, he had his last breakfast with 3 hard-boiled eggs. After breakfast, he sent some memorabilia, including religious pictures and books, some of which he gave to his mother and to his sister Trinidad. To his wife Josephine, he gave the Imitación de Cristo as a gift. He once again wrote a letter to his family, sisters, and brother.
December 30, 1896, Rizal wears a black suit, black pants, black bowler hat, and a white shirt with his arm tied behind his back. He walked to Bagong Bayan at 6:30 in the morning. He walked along with his defense lawyer, Andrade, and 2 just priests, March and Villar Clara, while in front of them were the advance guard of armed soldiers, and behind them were another group of military men. He also refused to kneel and declined the traditional blindfold and requested,
Bago ako patayin, maaari bang humiling ako ng kahuli-hulihan? Maaari bang patayin ako ng paharap?
Imposible. Ipinag-utos ng general na ikay patayin ng nakatalikod.
Sa gayon, maaari bang wag niyong barilin ang aking ulo? Dayo.
Nararangal kong makilala ka, Dr. Rizal.
Konsumata, miss.
Preparar. Apuntar. Disparar.
¡Viva España! ¡Muerte